I'm excited. You're outside.
I'm excited to be outside. I haven't done this since way back in season 1 of Thursday.
Right.
Awesome. Look at this beautiful day. Baseball season is back. Phillies are in first place.
They lost the one game I went to.
Yeah, hopefully that's the last game you go to this year.
I'll stay away. But super excited to be back for another Thursday Thoughts. Let's get into it. Welcome to another episode of Thursday Thoughts, everybody. I'm Zach James here with my man Kevin Homer. And Thursday Thoughts, where we bring you amazing thought leaders, business experts, and all around amazing people to talk about whatever our topic is. And today we're talking about a topic that I love, content creation. We're talking a little bit specific about realtors and folks that have to sell a service or a product and how they get into content creation. I have a really awesome guest who's going to kind of lead by example. He's done some amazing content over the years, and I can't wait to share him with you. But Kevin, how you doing today?
I'm great. Do you see this beautiful scenery behind me?
I'm a little jealous.
Blue. I'm wearing short sleeves outside. It's a great day.
Sun's out, guns out. I get it.
I had to come outside because we know that, obviously this past year, real estate has been flying off the shelves. It has been such a hot industry. But we also know that when springtime comes and the weather is good, that's when we expect it to get good. So as busy as this industry has been, it's only going to get busier now that it's springtime. And, I'm so glad that this topic just fell into place perfectly because, for anybody who's buying, selling, involved in real estate in any way, I mean, if you're not creating content and marketing yourself well, you're missing out on a huge opportunity right now, the way the market has been. So I'm so excited. Enough of me. Let's introduce our speaker. Let's get going.
Let's jump right into it. So today we have joining us a friend of mine, Mr. Chris Nelson. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about Chris. So Chris is a lifelong resident of the Philadelphia area. Chris is an esteemed agent with GenStone Realty. Having inherited an entrepreneurial spirit from his grandfather, who rose from the ashes of the Great Depression to go on and launch not one, but 2 successful businesses. Chris always valued the principle of helping others and putting a customer's most important needs first. It was during his time as a student at Montgomery County Community College, shout out Monco, that he decided to follow this calling and obtain his real estate certification. Having been serving the residents of Greater Philadelphia area since 2002, his commitment to excellence was rewarded with the 5-star award back in 2014, as voted on by the readers of the Philadelphia Magazine. That award is given to those who demonstrate an exemplary level of dedication to providing a real estate experience that is second to none, and that definitely is Chris. As a knowledgeable and experienced listing agent, Chris specializes in working with sellers, first-time home buyers, as well as those seeking luxury-style homes. In his free time, Chris and his wife, Nicole, and their 4 children enjoy relaxing at the shore. He can also be found enjoying his favorite craft beer. We're going to have a beer soon, Chris. And he's always interested in discovering new craft beers and beverages. So I love that about Chris. We're going to drink soon. As a proponent of leading an active lifestyle, he stays in shape by regularly participating in road cycling and by keeping busy with his dog. He also has a passion for videography and finds ways to implement his hobby into his day-to-day work routine, which, of course, we're going to dive into some of that today. But nevertheless, welcome, Chris. Glad to have you.
Welcome. Thanks for having me.
Indeed. So I the last little line, first off, I love bios where people tell you a little bit about their life and all that kind of stuff. But that last line, he's passionate about videography and he works it into that line should have been its own paragraph. You are more than just passionate about videography, sir. Tell us a little bit about yourself and, of course, how you bleed video into your world.
Yeah. So licensed realtor here in Pennsylvania for going on 20 years. Years back, I dabbled in a little bit of video production as a communications major right here at Montgomery County Community College. And at the time, again, very early 2000s, didn't see or know that it was going to have as much value to what I am doing today. But I took that little bit of knowledge that I acquired almost 20 years ago, and then probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago, somewhere in there, started to realize that my cell phone, which was always with me, allowed for me to capture what I was doing and share my experiences and share the things that I enjoyed with other people. So I started creating content from my cell phone. And again, at that time, it wasn't really anything real estate related, although I was in real estate. And then next thing you know, a light bulb went off and I started realizing dots were being connected. People were following what I was doing. They took interest in what I was doing. I started to realize that people who shared common interests with me ultimately started to gravitate towards me. And that's when I realized that I needed to bring this video and content creation from a personal level and just tie in a little bit of business as well.
Right.
And that is what has gotten me to the point where I am today.
Awesome. I love it. You know me, I'm a video guy too. Not more on the back end. I love production and script writing and all that good stuff. But I was really excited, to have you on because I've been following you on social and I love the way that you approach content for real estate. So we're going to dive into that a lot. Folks who are watching, make sure you provide any questions in the comments. You can also just tell us if you're liking this presentation and what we're talking about. But if you ask questions, we're going to actually get to them at the end of our chat. So anything content related, real estate related, you want to throw at Chris, just throw it in the chat and we will bring it up. But Chris, let's go back in time a little bit.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about the industry 20 years ago when you started, which again, I'm sorry to make it sound like we're dating you, but not in this 20 years ago, bro.
I started really
years
early.
old when we met. So kudos to you. But yeah, tell us about what it was like then.
Yeah. So it's almost scary to think when I got into the industry, the way that we got the word out about properties was either the MLS or the real estate book. Or, Craigslist started to, come into play. But, early 2000s, we really didn't have a lot of traffic going to those websites. So it literally was take 6 photos. And if you think about the progression of photos and even the last 5, 10, 15 years, the photos 20 years ago, although we were in somewhat of a digital age, really didn't do any justice for any of these properties. And we were only allowed to put 6 photos in the MLS. Right now we can do like 50 photos, right? So it was very hard from a marketing standpoint to be able to connect the dots for those who haven't seen the property and show them the value in it. And let's just face it, even today, a lot of people don't like to read, right? So me giving a lengthy description about why someone would enjoy living in this particular area or enjoy living at this particular property really didn't carry weight. So what we went through then versus what we have at our disposal now is a complete game changer.
Yeah, and let's dive into that because again, where we're at now, nothing like 20 years ago, and it's crazy to see how much growth we've had in this technology space. But smartphones, I think, is the key, and of course, social media being the second key. So let's dive a little bit into that. How close are you and your phone? Are y'all best?
So my phone is like everyone else. I guarantee anyone watching this and you guys, your phone is it's right there. And if it's not right next to you,
since we started.
Yeah. If it's not right next to you,
I don't think you're supposed to admit that on air, Zach.
I was sharing our broadcast.
Yeah. But if your phone's not with you, you're not comfortable. You're going home. You're going to get that phone. It's become our lifeline. So it's always there. It's your friend.
Right. And in terms of, the real estate space, I think it became a pivotal way to be able to showcase homes because, again, that's really the core of marketing it. But then once social media really took hold, it's the combination of the two that I think is that secret sauce that really changes the game, right? That's kind of how it happened for you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, and it's little things too, right? So I'm going to do like a small compare and contrast, but over in Canada, where they don't have fair housing as we do here in PA, right? So we have to be cautious of some of the things we put in the description. So what a photo or a video allows for me to do, allows for me to show that this yard is ideal for someone who has pets or someone who has children or someone who wants to sit outside and drink their coffee and watch the traffic go by, whatever the situation may be. So what we have here in comparison, you have to be creative and again, show real estate is emotional. It's one of the numbers, aside from location, people make decisions based on emotion, right? For me, I want to be able to see my son walk to the bus stop. I want to be able to let our dogs play in the backyard, right? So those are things that I may not be able to put in a description because, well, what if someone doesn't have children or a dog? But creating and connecting those dots in a video is a completely different way of actually showing people all of the different things that you can actually do in or with the property.
Right.
And I think, this shift, it also, it empowers the buyer a little bit to do some of their own research and, look at things ahead of time. Whereas in the past, obviously that wasn't an option. If I wanted to see a house, I had to go to the house and there was no other options. And maybe I was wasting my time. And if I was wasting my time, then I was wasting your time. We didn't know that. Whereas now, we live in a society and, they say that this isn't a Realty statistic, but overall they say 80% of the sales process is complete before the initial interaction with the company you're going to buy from. Yeah. And what that means is people want to do their own research. They're looking at pictures, they're looking at competitors, they're looking at reviews. And then, they're pretty sure they know what they want before they reach out to someone. They want to be empowered. They want to have that ability to do it themselves. Yeah. And, slightly different from, this type of topic, but same kind of thing. If I'm buying a property, I like knowing that I can work with someone like Chris and look at pictures and videos and descriptions and have a pretty good idea of, here are the properties I want to see, knowing that, yes, you have to see it in person before you buy it. Although COVID has taught us that maybe that's not even true anymore. Right. But at least I know we're not wasting time. We've narrowed down the list. We've got, a targeted goal. Now let's do it.
Yeah. So there's a couple of things that you mentioned there too. And, like for me, I know my area. I'm not necessarily moving outside of my area, right? But you also have to keep in mind too that, especially today, we're seeing a lot of people move to areas that they're not familiar with, right? So using your phone to create photos or videos also gives you the opportunity to not only tell people about the house, but about the community. Right? Mm-hmm. Tell them about the coffee shop that you adore down the street. Tell them the story of, the new pizza shop that just went in and why their Sicilian is so, phenomenal. Right.
Yeah.
Because it's not always just about the house. It's about the community and everything that comes along with.
Absolutely. Wow. I love my house. The worst thing about it, I have to drive 10 minutes to get to Wawa.
But see, these are things that someone can put in marketing, right?
Yep.
If you are,
I still would have bought the house, but yeah, you got to know what's around you, what's in the community for sure.
Absolutely.
For health reasons, I'm glad I'm not within walking distance of a Wawa. I feel like
that's a good point too.
Now they got the apps; you can just order the Wawa stuff to you. Like, no, that's not good. But it actually just bleed into this sort of next part is social media. I think that's the real crux that, a lot of folks, I think before were like, social media, I'm too old for it, or I don't have the audience for it, but it's a requirement in my opinion these days. And these are some of those main things you can do with it, educating your audience. It is free marketing and how to become a resource or an expert. So Chris, kind of talk to some of those points and how you use social.
Yeah. So I personally think one of the easiest ways to connect with people is through humor. And I'm not a comedian. I'm not a funny person whatsoever. So I fail there, right? But education, you educate people on the home buying process, things to avoid, how to make a strong offer. If you're a seller, how to pick from 17 different offers that you may have in your lap at this different time, right? And And that, in my opinion, goes a far way. And if you're good and you are funny and you can find a way to tie the humor into your education, well, then you're winning in that regard. But ultimately, people who are trying to make a decision, they're not always going to put their hand up and ask the question. I can't tell you how many videos I've scrolled by, and it may have been about videography, right? Social media knows what your interests are, and it does its best to provide that content to you. But I can't tell you how many times I may have been on social media just to say happy birthday to someone, and here comes this video on, how to edit something. Now here I am, right? Like spending time learning about something that is of interest to me. So I firmly believe education is one of the best ways for me because I'm not funny. I forget the other two bullet points over there.
Put them up there.
So free marketing. So earlier in the conversation, I mentioned, when we were marketing properties 20 years ago, it was the MLS, which is a paid service. We pay for the MLS, but technically I'm going to say it's a free tool, because if you're a realtor and you don't have the MLS, are you really a realtor? And then getting your ads in either the real estate book, which they're paid ads, or the newspaper, or whatever it may have been. Social media, if you are providing value and you are casting your net, that's free advertisement. Now, of course, these social media platforms have ways to entice you to spend, but you don't have to. Most of my content on social platforms, I don't put ad spend behind it. I don't need to cast the net that wide. I'm just looking for the few people who are in my backyard that says, that's my guy. He's got tattoos. He wears his hat backwards. He talks with his hands. That's my guy, right? So it's free marketing. And there's so many different platforms that YouTube, like for those who like to create long content or long form content, it's the second largest search engine that exists, and it's owned by Google, right? So, and it's free. It's free. So,
right.
The last bullet.
I tell folks a lot, because sometimes people see the word free and they don't believe it. And I tell them it's okay to not believe it, because it's subjective. I mean, my time goes into it, right? That's not quote unquote free. And what I would tell young content creators is there's 3 factors into making content. You don't need all 3. You need probably at least 2, but it's time, creativity, and money. If you don't have money, but you have time and creativity, you can make something happen. Like you can be successful. Granted, if you have all 3, it's easy to flip a switch and make things pop. But I think that creativity part is where a lot of people kind of fall short when it comes to knowing what to put on social. Because what I've learned from you and others that I watch on social is you don't have to put constant information about what you're offering. Right. You do a great job at this. And we have another slide that really talks about how to engage. Yeah. You post about your hobbies. You post about family and milestones. Those sorts of things are great to bring that creativity out, but it also helps you find that common ground. And we're going to jump into this too, the know, like, trust statement that you had, because I think it makes so much sense for anyone who's in the business of selling anything. That's the process that I like to go through is, you know me, then you like me, and then you trust me. But speak a little bit about your content style and how you weave in things outside of real estate.
So obviously, as I mentioned several times, and as you guys have, I love content creation, right? I don't like being on the phone calling people that I don't know, right? But real estate's also a numbers game. It's a contact sport. So I believe the numbers are, your 100th phone call should be a yes, right? You're going to go through 99 no's to get to 1 yes, right? And that's going to take a lot of time, right? May not take a lot of money, but it's going to take some time to get on the phone. And again, it's not something I enjoy doing. But what I do enjoy doing is creating content and sharing that. And what has happened in doing so is it almost has mirror imaged me being on the phone and calling 100 people to get 1 yes. And what I mean by that is people who appreciate craft beer and that I have connected with over craft beer and have had conversation and dialogue with. We've built rapport. I didn't have to tell them I'm in real estate. I feel as though once you create a relationship with someone, we're inquisitive people. we go on each other's Facebook or LinkedIn, and we find out about the other person, right? So once I've created that connection over beer or over the fact that I'm a road cyclist, people are going to go and find out a little bit more about me. And when they realize that I'm in real estate and they have a need for real estate, well, it's a lot easier for them to call me than it is for them to call someone that they don't know. And that ties into the know, like, and trust, right? Years ago, not even years ago, probably about 7 years ago, I always made sure when I walked around, I had long sleeve shirt on. I have tattoos, right? Very heavily tattooed. Would always make sure that when I went out, if I didn't have a hat, or if I did have a hat, I wore it a certain way. I was very, very aware and conscious of, and I'm not saying go out and just look unpresentable, but I was always, I'm here to do business. I need to wear, business clothes, right? Well, the problem is not everybody gravitated, because that's not who I am. What you see is who I am. So I'm okay with Kevin, just using you as an example, seeing all my content and just saying, you know what? I like his content, but he's not my guy, right? I don't want this kid showing up to my house with his hat backwards and his tattoos out when he's like doing a video of my home. That's not my guy. That's cool, because you're not my seller, right? And the person who does call me and says, Chris, your content is awesome. You remind me of my brother or whoever. Like, let's get together and have this conversation about how to get my home sold. That is the same thing as someone hitting the phones and making 100 phone calls to get to that one. But that one phone call, it's coincidence. There's no, I mean, I don't know the conversation, but there's very little know, like, and trust, right? And that's why I share my kids, how messy your house is. My wife hates that. I always either go live or do a video when there's dishes in the sink. Why? Because most people have dishes in their sink. Like, most people don't live a perfect life. So I share my imperfect life.
And I also think that, with that content, I mean, let's just say I did have an issue with you having tattoos. And if I met you, right now, I may say this is not my guy. But if I've seen your content and I see your passion and I see your knowledge and I see how good you are at what you do, maybe that's also a chance for me to look past your tattoos and say, you know what? I would have cared, but now I don't, because I can tell this is the guy for me. He knows what he's doing. Yep. So I think it gives you that extra opportunity to see past the tattoos or the backwards hat or whatever it might be, and actually see the person for who he is.
Absolutely.
He or her is.
Couldn't agree more.
This is bleeding into our DEI chat from the last Thursday thoughts, man. I love it, Kevin.
There you go.
Transparency is key. Transparency is key.
Yep.
It is.
And I know Zach and I are big fans of that too. We don't like to sell. We like to build relationships. And, when you have that content creation piece and you're talking about the craft beers and the cycling and all that, you're building relationships. You're not selling. Whereas if you just show up and say, hey, you want to sell a house? I'm your guy. Well, now you're a salesman.
Yeah.
Who wants to do that?
So real quick sidebar in that 2018 and 2019, a large portion of my traditional business, and also some of the largest sales that I've had in my 19-year, 20-year history, came from either knowing and meeting someone in the beer industry or from road cycling.
Yep.
There you go.
The hobbies make connections, and again, that know, like, trust is so relevant and important. I'm glad we had a chance to touch on that. So kind of shifting gears a little bit, really into content creation as a whole. Again, like I said, I love video content, and you do video content really well. So we're actually going to go through some of this information while also hopping over to your Instagram and showing some examples. But the first thing we wanted to jump into was, like, why are we doing video in the first place? This is the wave. Folks who did not think this was coming 5 years ago, 10 years ago, whatever, just listen to some of these stats. So 300 plus hours are uploaded every minute. Every single minute, 300 hours of footage is uploaded to YouTube. You have 5 billion videos watched daily. We have here 500 million people watch Facebook videos every day. And of course, at the bottom, I'm a proponent of this. Video is not an option. You must do video to grow your business. What do these stats kind of say to you, Chris?
grab your phone and create video content. No, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, there's you can find these articles, but Mark Zuckerberg has said, in roughly 2 years from now, probably less than that at this point, their goal is to have video as the big form of their content. I mean, they're at the bottom of your app now. You literally have an app or an icon to go to video content. So again, YouTube, the second largest search engine that exists, right? TikTok, which is not my favorite platform to create content. I love going on there and seeing other content. I think it's fun and things to that extent. But what platform do you go on? LinkedIn, right? So LinkedIn was very B2B before, and it was very, if you didn't have a business tie and suit, don't post, right? So, but look at where they're at right now. They just released stories video. Now you can post photo, but it's designed to have a 20-second loop, if you will. Nobody needs to see a photo for 20 seconds. Their thought process behind that is video. If you become a huge influencer, Zach, they give you the opportunity to now go live. I'm not going to go live with a photo, right? So if you look at where these social platforms, where they're actually starting to build out these opportunities for you to use video, that says it right there.
Right. 100%.
I think one of the best statistics that you had on that slide, Zach, and one that was missing, our global population is like 7.5 billion people. And the stat you had was 5 billion videos are watched daily. So that's 2/3 of our population, right? 7.5 billion people in the world, 5 billion videos being watched per day.
To add, out of those 7+ billion, there's a fair portion of them that don't have the technology.
Absolutely.
So that skews those numbers, right? In
for sure.
Towards, it swings the pendulum towards create video. Like, this is what consumers want.
That is a crazy amount of video being watched daily.
And even factoring even in addition to that, there's an element that I don't remember a day where I only watch one video. Like, I'm probably consuming multiple videos, from multiple sources on multiple topics. I again, another thing I shouldn't admit, I actually haven't taken the time to read a book in years. Like Audible, I'll listen to books, but I don't sit down there and turn a page and read them. I just haven't.
I'm sorry, I think we had a poor connection. What was that number again?
Yeah, no, I think it went through clear.
Yeah. So to add on to that, we do, yes, there is tons of value to picking up a book and reading, right? Totally get it. Totally respect it. But we live in a very fast-paced environment, right? So in my opinion, I look at that as a leisurely activity. I'm doing it for enjoyment. But when I really want to learn something or improve something, I'm usually listening to it or watching it through my AirPods or on a screen, a device, maybe while I'm riding my bike, maybe while we're making dinner, right? While we're multitasking. And it allows me to digest that content a lot faster, right? But to add on to that, even my communication with my clients is mostly in the form of video, right? And this is where I don't think we talked about this, but I see this as a big problem in real estate. So realtors, if you see this, if you don't use this for marketing, this should be your biggest takeaway, because I think there's a lot of liability too. Where I'm going with that is, being that we live in a very fast-paced environment. And Kevin, when you started this conversation, you hit a little bit on the temperature of the market, right? Homes are selling fast. They're insanely fast. Multiple offers, 10, 15, 20 offers. And it happens quick, right? Mm-hmm. So most realtors, because we're in this digital age, are typing up the offer, or not typing, they're drafting up the offer, and they're sending it to their client to sign electronically with no explanation of what they're signing, right?
Right.
But with video, you can actually record, here's the agreement, here's what you're signing, here's how this works, here's the terms. Do me a favor, after you watch this video, if you have any questions, let me know so I can explain them to you before you sign the contract, right? And that's not happening. And that, in my opinion, has a lot of liability. So I think the video right there has a lot of weight.
You and even to piggyback off of that, I know in our correspondence a couple of weeks ago, you sent me an email and I was expecting like, some bullet points, paragraphs, whatever. It was an email video of you basically talking about the presentation. I was like, I didn't even know you could do it like that. Like, that was awesome. Like, you made a whole video just to chat. Yeah. But it almost was more enticing because it was engaging. Like, I already bought a house, but you would have sold me on that one. I was just like, oh, I'm working with Chris.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I fully get it. Do
you want to buy another house?
I do want to.
I know a guy who knows a guy.
Awesome. Is it free?
I'll send you a video on it.
Okay, let's do that. To go a little deeper down video. So let's talk about actually creating. And, I'm a big proponent of this. I know you are too, Chris, is you just got to jump in and do it. But let's start on this one. Identify where you want to post. Explain what you mean by that.
Yeah. So there's all these different social platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the list goes on, right? And each one of those platforms, people go to those platforms for different things. For just real short example, TikTok, very short content. People go there to laugh. They are starting to be a little bit educational, but it's literally like maybe 3 tips, boom, you're moving on. YouTube, people go there when they have a problem. They need to solve a problem. They want to learn. They're willing to spend 5, 10 minutes, an hour with you if it solves their problem. Instagram is quick, short form content. People want to laugh or whatever the situation may be, right? They're not there to really take away a whole lot. So if you can understand and pick a platform that interests you, if you like to solve problems, okay, then that's a start. That tells you, it helps you narrow down what platforms you should consider. If you like to entertain and you like to do it quick and you're quirky or whatever, that helps you identify what platform. So start with identifying what platform. You don't need to be everywhere. Be on one and do it well. And by doing that, I personally believe, somebody actually asked me a couple of weeks ago, should I try to be great at like 2 or 3 of them? I said, no. Build a tribe on one platform. Build, know, like, and trust. Provide value to that audience. And then when you're ready to build your social presence and you're ready to go to somewhere else, it's a lot easier to ask the 100 people who have started to follow you and appreciate you. It's a lot easier to say, hey, listen, I'm now creating content for so-and-so. If you wouldn't mind, follow me there. But if you try to do a little bit each time, in my opinion, unless you're literally a social media guru, it's probably counterproductive. So starting with identifying what platform you want to spend the time on is the number one spot to start.
And everything we've talked about here, the term we haven't used yet, but you're building your personal brand. So, Chris, you've identified, who you are and who you're trying to reach. You have a lot of energy. You love using the technology and the latest trends. You are going to wear your hat backwards. You're going to show off your tattoos. You're going to talk about your craft beer and your cycling. That's who you are. That's your brand. And in doing that, you've identified who you're trying to reach. So now, when it comes to the social media, part of your equation obviously is, where are you more comfortable putting your message? But then it's also, where is your audience? Where do they want to receive the message? And, so that decision, which platform do you belong on? That's part of your personal brand also. If you were, if you're putting on your suit and tie and, you're showing off, multi-million-dollar properties or commercial properties, maybe you're on LinkedIn, you're not on Instagram, you're not on TikTok. That's all part of your brand, and I think a lot of realtors probably understand, that even if you are with a larger firm, you need that personal brand, but don't always take the steps to really figure out, okay, now what do I do about that? What is that personal brand going to be?
Yeah. So a lot of people get confused on brand, and I think it can be defined and described so many different ways. But I think for me, it's your level of expectation you get when you commit to either working with that person or buying that type of product, right? So what I mean by that is Nike. I know that if I want, now some people again over years can chest bump this, but I know if I wanted a premium athletic sneaker, that's my company. Not for bowling, right? Like I know that if I want something, premium athletic, that's what I'm going to get from them. right? I know, Mercedes Benz is going to give me that high-end luxury car enthusiast feel. That's their brand. That's what they go for, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's the same thing. People know that when they work with me, this is what they get. They get the animated guy who talks with his hands, doesn't shut up, likes to record everything, and drinks beer.
Now, to go a little deeper, so the next point we had on here was really interesting. I think a lot of people need to know what this means. Don't worry about being perfect. I'm big into jumping in, but I'm also very self-conscious, and I get nervous, and sometimes I've been close to doing content and haven't done it. Like, this is what I'm going to do. Turn the camera on. I don't want to do it. What do you feel about just jumping in? Don't worrying about being perfect.
I think that is the like trying to be perfect, again, is extremely counterproductive. You're going to critique yourself. The project's not going to get done, just like you said. And it's known, right? And I can tell you personal experience, and from also talking to some of the most well-known social media influencers or marketers out there, people expect imperfect. It goes back to my comment about my wife hating the fact that I'm recording the video while my kids are screaming and the kitchen has tons of stuff in the dish in the sink, right? It doesn't need to be perfect. It needs to be done. Mm-hmm. And most people will, I'm not going to say shy away, but they almost question that whole like perfection persona, when you can just be you and stutter or trip over your words or whatever. Those people who are going to gravitate to you is going to build that know, like, and trust. So being perfect is not what this is about at all.
Right.
And it's going to limit you from hitting that record button. My hair is not right. I don't have the right shirt on. I'm not in the right location. Who cares?
Now, we already touched on kind of your phone as your friend. We all just mentioned that we love our cellular devices and what it can do for us. But subtitles, I know some folks, add them. Some programs are automatically adding them. What's your opinion towards subtitles on the content you create?
I would say if you can do or add subtitles, do it. However, don't let that be the reason you don't put content out. I don't know the exact number, but the statistics are somewhere north of 75% of content that's watched on most social platforms, with the exception of YouTube, are watched without video or without audio. Mm-hmm. I also, about 3 weeks ago, put out a video, had subtitles, and it didn't do great. I didn't get a bunch of likes. It's not about the likes, right? It's about getting my message to that one person who needs it. Well, I got a message from someone thanking me because the video that had subtitles allowed for them to share this educational video with their family member who had some hearing impairment issues, right? So we forget that, there is a need for subtitles for reasons such as that. But again, and to add, social media sites, they'll notice whether or not there are subtitles, or if there are certain graphics that are like a subtitle. Like TikTok has these banners you put on with words. They notice that, and it will help your content with their algorithms.
Gotcha. So before we jump onto some resources for folks, let's dive into some actual examples. I want to show people kind of why I really got infatuated with your content, and hop over to your Instagram page right quick. So I'll pull it up and give me some things that you might want us to share with folks. Let me grab it for us right now. So here we are on your Instagram page. Yeah. First off, this is cute. Who's this?
That's Carson. Carson is a year and a half. He's our youngest boy, and he woke up very early with me this morning and would not let me get my morning routine in. So decided to share that.
He made the page. He made the page. So I noticed,
I think my son's about a month younger than you, so I feel you.
Yeah, it's a lot.
I'm clicking around randomly on stuff here.
So real quick, as you're moving around, people will see. Earlier we mentioned, like, you don't have to hit people in the head with like, "Hey, I listed a home. Hey, I sold a home." You're right, you don't. You still want to post it, right? Because it does create credibility. right? So I'm gonna put in, yeah, we listed a home. I think that's the middle top one there. We're gonna share, which I'm also very proud of, how much activity we did the month prior. But I'm also gonna mix in like a lot of personal stuff. I'm gonna mix in some of the educational stuff, which is what you see there. My son, my 9-year-old went back to school 5 days a week for the first time in over a year. I'm going to share that, right? It was a moment that mattered a lot to me. There's another one there that says, it talks about home buyer grants in this market. Well, you want to be the strongest buyer you can. You want to have the most buying power. So there's a 1 or 2 minute video, which speaking on that. So that video, which it says must watch, you don't need to click it, but that actually was a long form video made for YouTube. So it's probably 7 to 10 minutes in length. But what I did in that situation was, it's almost like the Gary Vaynerchuk approach. I regurgitated the information by narrowing it down to one of those talking points, and then put that with my overlay and put that in here. Because again, on this platform, people only want to spend about a minute or so. They're not here for a 10-minute video.
Right.
When it comes to real estate, again, you see Kobe Bryant's house there. You see the top 9 most expensive homes in the county. I didn't sell those homes. Right? I'm not the listing agent on them. I wasn't the buyer's agent on them, but it's really cool, in my opinion, to show people what they have going on in their very own backyard, or if they are moving to this area, what does some of our luxury real estate look like? Right?
I didn't know you came to my backyard and was taking drone shots, bro. Like,
I brought beer and everything. I thought you were going to answer, but.
Now, I also thought it was really cool. So you use Instagram Reels as well, which these are really more short form content. And the one that I loved the most was I was scrolling around and I saw this and I was like, wait a minute, he's over here making pizza?
Yeah, so my wife loves to cook.
And you got you got music with it and everything too. I'm like, this is not what you get from a realtor typically. But I wanted to come over for some pizza after I saw it.
So again, people who are foodies, they realize we're foodies too. I mean, there's a lot here. I'm a juicer. We make our own juice. That was me in the morning. Property walkthroughs. This is all me shoveling snow. Like 1,000 people watch me shovel snow.
Is this you shoveling over here?
So, and this is all done from my cell phone. But I want you to pause right there. So second row down, right where you just highlighted. Yep, and the one right below it. You don't have to play it per se, but what I want to show is that 30-second clip of that property, 7,000 people watch that for free. 7,000 people. I can guarantee if I put an ad out in some public print publication, or even when we did 20 years ago, I highly doubt 7,000 people looked at it. Highly doubt.
Let's get some more looks. Let's see what you got going on here. Adding music is so key to making videos awesome.
Big time.
Now, what someone watching this might think is, all right, I don't know how to edit. I don't know how to add music. I don't even know how to make words pop up on the screen like that. I think folks usually think of the hurdles of doing content when they see someone else do it, and that what is prevents them from jumping in. That's that. All right, Chris's stuff is perfect. He has so many different things. I really enjoy watching his content, but that's not what we do. Yeah. So speak towards that, like for someone who's looking at that, like, and our next slide actually has some great resources on it too, in terms of what people can do to get creative like that.
Yeah. So I am friends with in my opinion, some of the best real estate content creators out there. And if I took that same approach, if I looked at their content and said, oh, I'm not going to make a video, look at this, like I would never get anything done, and I would still be posting photos in the real estate book, right? You have to start. The only way you're going to learn how to do these things is by trying to do them. And for what it's worth, don't be afraid to ask for help. I've asked for so much help, and we've talked about YouTube so many times. if you have the desire to learn how to do that stuff on any of these platforms, go watch someone else's video on YouTube, right?
Right.
You can learn how to do all these things in a matter of minutes once you just convince yourself and tell yourself, I'm going to do it, right? Like, so I have my educational series, like some of the videos we just watched. I release a video every Tuesday. I've been doing it for about 2 years. Every Tuesday. It's called Just a Tip Tuesday. And the reason I did that was to make it specific so that I made a commitment to myself and to my audience. Like, if you trust me and you start to follow me, I'm going to give you something every Tuesday. And that is a way, in my opinion, if you're considering doing it, but you're that person that needs that nudge or that reminder or that commitment, go and promise people indirectly that you're going to provide and create a schedule. So again, people know every Tuesday, my YouTube, my Facebook, all of them, they're going to have educational video, Just a Tip Tuesday.
Right.
But if I know that it's human nature to compare and contrast, right? Whatever the situation may be, but you can't look at other people's content and because it's better, not do it. You have to start somewhere.
Yep, 100%. So for the folks out there who want to get a little more into creating their own content, we actually put together a few resources, and I want you to run through these, Chris, give us a little more detail about what we use them for. So the first one we put on there was rev.com.
Yep. So the videos that I create that have subtitles, I use this company to add subtitles to my videos, and it's about $1.25 per minute, but they do a phenomenal job. I get it back, and then I can post it in different areas. And again, having that there helps the algorithm, and it also creates it fills that void for that 86 or whatever the number is of people who are watching the content without audio. So that's my source for captions.
And question for you. So that's you just send them, hey, here's my final video, and they send it back with the subtitles on it.
Great question. No. So what they do is they create what's referred to as an SRT file. It's a file that it's lined up with what you're saying to the second. So when I get it back, I add that to my content and then release it. I do believe, don't hold me to this, I do believe that there is a way to download directly from rev.com with the subtitles on there. Because I edit and create my own content from start to finish, with the exception of the subtitles, I add it in post.
Yeah, it's probably an additional fee to have them go through and run it.
Yep, because you are giving them their, the video, obviously. So obviously they're matching that up. And when you go onto their website to review what they're delivering to you, you're watching your video with the wording. So I'm sure there's some way, for sure.
Gotcha.
And if I heard you correctly, Chris, let's say you created a 2-minute video for an extra $3 or so, you could reach that extra 80 to 85% of people who don't have sound on their phone.
You better believe it.
For $3 ish.
And it's a tax write-off.
There you go.
I love it.
That sounds like an easy decision to me.
Next one we have is Canva.com, which I could go on and on about Canva. I love it. I made this slide on Canva, but tell a little bit of folks about how you use Canva in your business.
So the funny thing is Canva just started making commercials. Did you see that?
Yes, I have seen Canva commercials.
I did see one.
Yes. Yeah. So Canva, they have both a free and a paid service. Zach, can you actually go back to my Instagram for a second?
I surely can.
Okay, and then hop over to IGTV. Next one over. So these are thumbnails. Now I create thumbnails for Instagram. I mean for Instagram and YouTube. They look alike, but these are all made in Canva. All made in Canva. It's their fonts. It's their free content as far as graphics go. There's other things as well. If you can go back to the very first, like where it says posts, and then scroll down to where that video was, where it says must watch. So if you notice that video, there's a picture of me in the bottom. So if you click on it, yep. So this is an overlay. This was made in Canva, where I was actually able to take my photo. That's my branded photo. You see that in pretty much everything. Like it's my Facebook page. It's the same photo everywhere. But I was able to take that using Canva, create a square image where the background is blank. So when I add my video, I can put this overlay on it. I can change the font so people know if you click on this video, here's what I'm trying to educate you on.
Gotcha. Awesome.
So yeah, Canva by far, and you can use it on your iPad, your phone, your tablet, I should say, not your iPad. But by far one of the best things you can have in your tool belt when it comes to graphic design.
I fully agree. Now to some things I have no clue about. Cut Story.
So I'm laughing.
Onto this.
I'm laughing. Yeah. So Cut Story is a really cool app that allows for you to take, let's say you record a video that's 3 minutes in length, and it has 3 different talking points, but you want to cut that down just like the video you saw, so that you can get a 1 minute clip on Instagram. That app allows you to upload your video and say, I want you to take this 3 minute video and you're going to dissect it into 3 clips. So first minute is 1 clip, second minute's another clip, third minute's another clip. You can post them. You might post 1. You can also, if you same logic, you have a video, a couple minutes in length, and you want to edit it real quick so that you can post it to your Instagram stories, which is a 15-second clip. You upload that video. You tell it you want this diced up specifically for Instagram stories, and it will take that video and store it in your camera roll in sequential order, with the clips being the size that you've identified.
Indeed. And I was telling you earlier, I used to have frustration when I knew nothing about an app like this, and I needed to post. This is before IGTV. So you could do 1 minute videos on Instagram. You could have to swipe, but there was nothing longer than 60 seconds. So I went through a very arduous process to cut any video into 1 minute clips. And I really wish I knew about this app back then. But yeah, very, very useful tool. And both of these, we have editing for both of these. So tell us about InShot and about Splice. And for folks who are watching, again, if you have any questions for Chris about content creation, about that realtor world and content world, please feel free to put them in the chat on whatever you're watching. And of course, we're going to have Chris's contact information at the bottom of the screen, so you can always reach out to him directly. But tell us about those 2 editing apps.
So those 2 apps will allow for you on the go, again, from your phone or from your tablet, to take a video and edit it. So maybe you, in the middle of trying to educate people on whatever the topic was, you stumbled, you forgot, you went blank for 60 seconds and you want to cut that clip out. Or you recorded a video and you want to take out the ums and the and just a little bit of down parts in between your talking, like your normal editing. You can do that from this app. The other thing that's cool is once you really start to understand how these apps work, what I have on my phone is that squared overlay that we just looked at with me in the corner. That's saved on my phone. So if I create a video on my phone, or I have a video on my phone that I want to use, I can load that into InShot. I can say, you know what, InShot, take this, or Splice, take this 16:9 landscape or portrait and make it a 1:1. And then I want to add my overlay on top of it. And I want to add some background music and or some graphics, or I want to change the speed. One of the videos you looked at where the music was there and I'm walking through the house quickly, I changed the speed on that. I sped it up a little bit because you didn't need to see me creep through the house, right? So all of that can be done by using those 2 apps.
That's how you got that shoveling done so quickly.
Absolutely. That, and my wife was on the other end, like actually shoveling.
Somebody was working.
No, that's fantastic. Chris, this has been great, man. I really do appreciate you giving us sort of the down low on how you create some of this content. Of course, there's a lot more magic that goes to it, which is really trial and error. You know, folks who want to create content, you know, you really need to just not worry about it being perfect and go for it. You know, I'm sure, Chris, you've seen the evolution of your content from when you started to now. So you're not going to just start and be where Chris may be currently. You have to really just get into it, get active, and start doing it. But yeah, before we get out of here, any last words for the folks, Chris?
Yeah, make it easy and highlight or share what you like, what you're comfortable with, whatever your hobby is. That's the easiest thing. Your sphere, the people you you rub elbows with. Well, I guess we don't really rub elbows so much right now, but the people who really know you, they're aware you do those things. They know that you like to garden or you like to bake or whatever. But there's a large group of people who will find value in that don't know that you do that. So share that with them. We're right now, a lot of people are getting their gardens together. Talk about what you're planting and why. Talk about why you use a certain soil over another, right? Because people are going to gravitate based off of know, like, and trust. And it may even spark up a conversation like, well, no, don't use that soil, use this. Or you should be planting this. If you know that builds rapport. That's building your tribe.
Right. And it's interesting. I love using Canva, and the few times I did a screen record of me building a logo or something for someone and put that on social, I actually got a lot of love for those. Like, people didn't know that I had that skill set. So I fully agree with you. Any thoughts towards the topic, Kevin, before we get out of here?
I don't think I can top that, but yeah, Chris summed it up perfectly. But I think one of the things he said before is, how do you get into it? Just get into it. It's a free platform. So if you're able to use it for free, then you can also test it out and experiment for free. And it doesn't mean you have to post it. You can go play with some video, go practice some overlays and some music. And, you may not do anything with it, but just go do it. Just give yourself a few minutes to try it out. Canva, how do you learn Canva? Just go play around, go look around, see what this button does, see what that button does. It's all free stuff, so there's nothing holding you back.
100%.
Love it.
So first off, thanks to everybody who's watching. We had a huge audience. Shout out to my man Terrence. You just put in there, can you email recording? Is there a charge for that? So technically, this is on our YouTube for free for anyone to watch, but I would
whoa. Let's not give that away yet.
I was going to say, I don't mind charging you $100 if you want to pay for the knowledge, but no, Terrence, this will be on LinkedIn. You can always watch this back, and also on the Navitas Marketing YouTube page, where we have another, I think we might have done about 15, we're getting close to 20, Kevin, but we have another 15 or so past episodes on different topics. You can go to educate yourself and learn about different things. And of course, I even have past content creation videos on here with my partner, Kyrie Terrell, who's a videographer, came and did some really cool pieces as well. So again, thanks for the folks who are watching. Quick look ahead. We have The Power of Fun with Dave Raymond, the original Philly fanatic. He is our guest in 2 weeks on Thursday Thoughts. And then we actually have Michael Adler in May. If you recall, we were supposed to have Michael a couple weeks ago. But he actually ended up having a court case the same day we were planning it. So we pushed that over to May 6th. So we're going to be talking about common legal hurdles for small business. And of course, Dave is going to be talking about The Power of Fun, which I've actually seen his presentation before. This isn't going to be as amazing as that because we got a shorter time frame, but he's going to drop some really fun knowledge. He's an awesome guest to have. Super excited to have him. And remember, folks, you can always reach out to us here at Navitas Marketing. We do free 30-minute consultations for businesses, entrepreneurs, and anyone who would like to talk with us about growing your brand. So again, thanks everyone for watching, and yeah, get ready for the next Thursday Thoughts. Everybody have yourself a great rest of your Thursday.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Thank you, Chris.